Double J, Jeff Jarrett, here to tell you a little bit about the nonstop savings happening over here at SaveWithConrad.com. Are high credit card balances holding you down on the card? If you're looking to give a guitar shot to your credit card debt or give your home the push it deserves with some upgrades and remodeling, you need to go to SaveWithConrad.com. That's right, SaveWithConrad.com. Conrad and his team are routinely helping my world listeners save $500, $600, $700, even $800 a month. Oh, did I mention you get to skip your next 2 house payments? Take a cue from the last outlaw, because if anybody knows how to get the bag, it's me. Strut on over to SaveWithConrad.com today and see how much money you can save for free. That's right, it's SaveWithConrad.com.
NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. SaveWithConrad.com. Ladies and gentlemen, those are indeed the sexy stylings of Tony Schiavone. Are you taking a look at those legs? If you're missing out, you're missing a lot. Go to WHWMonday.com, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell. You never know when Tony Schiavone is going to show you what Sting looked like underneath the makeup at Starrcade 97. Pale Ale, how are you, Mr. Schiavone?
I'm good, Hunt. What's your name? Good, Conrad.
I'm Conrad. You can say Excalibur, it's fine.
That's okay. I've got a lot of that to do later tonight.
Oh, doing a little pickup action?
No, this is dropping on Wednesday. You know.
Oh, that's right. I forget. Now, are y'all still doing Dynamite each and every Wednesday?
We are. When Dynamite and Collision are done on the same day, sometimes I don't do Dynamite. I'll just do Collision. And we're in New Orleans tonight, and to be honest with you, we're recording this before, so I don't know if I'm going to do Dynamite, but I did Dynamite last week from Boston, and I got to say we had a great time.
I got to tell you, Tony, there's a lot of fans. I don't know if well, let me just ask it like this. What was your favorite part of WrestleMania, Tony?
I didn't watch it.
Okay. Here's a quiz. Okay. What do you think The Rock is going to do at Globe Life Field on July 12th at AEW All In? What do you think The Rock is going to do at All In?
As in Dwayne Johnson?
Yeah.
He's probably going to be counting his money somewhere wherever he lives.
The answer is the same thing he did at WrestleMania. Fucking nothing.
Oh.
At least with AEW, they won't make you believe he's going to be there. Of course, anyway, there's a lot of people who are upset with the main event of WrestleMania. A lot of people saying they feel ripped off and it was a terrible WrestleMania and the worst WrestleMania ever and all this stuff. Wow. I saw a lot of people saying, man, even Dynamite was better than WrestleMania. I mean, obviously it's a different thing. The pomp and circumstance of WrestleMania is its own thing. But I say all that to say, you guys have had a string of really, really good shows lately. I thought last week's shows were terrific.
Last week's show, we made a big deal about, and rightfully so, being a record-breaking night for us. As far as a primetime wrestling show on either TBS or TNT. And we were at the MGM Theater, which is connected to Fenway, and we had a sellout crowd. And there have been some people who have said, and I know one of them is with us sometimes here, it's Adam Demouy, says, oh, you guys are moving back to the smaller venues. Yes, we are, because look how great they look on TV. And look how well they're doing for us right now. And I'm going to say I had more fun, I think, in 2 days in Boston than I've ever had doing TV shows for AEW. And I had a lot of fun back during the pandemic. We had a blast. And there have been times we go out to Wales, Cardiff, Wales, had a great time out there. And we've done some great things, the Grand Slams, the one in Australia. But I really think that the 2 days in Boston were great on many, many levels for AEW. Not comparing it like the fans online want to do to WrestleMania, because I didn't watch WrestleMania. I don't need to watch WrestleMania because I know a lot of people will tell me about it moving forward. And I just thought it was a great night for us. And hopefully we can continue to pick up on that momentum. Let's see.
Well, we're gonna have a lot of fun today because we're gonna be taking a trip down memory lane to 1989. This is the year that I totally fell head over heels with professional wrestling. I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for 1989 and 1997. I can't believe this is real, but this was 36 years ago. We're going to be watching Primetime Wrestling from March 27th, 1989. This is right around WrestleMania 5 time. We want you to fire up your Peacock. That's season 5, episode 13. Season 5, episode 13. Tony, you were at this WrestleMania, were you not?
This was my first, and as a matter of fact, this March 27th, I would have been with the company for about 2 months, I guess. And so I was really pretty excited to be able to do this and be able to be in Atlantic City and be a part of this and be able to work with Heenan and Gorilla and everybody there for the first time. I was pretty pumped. And again, I've told this story over and over that I came from a small company, Jim Crockett Promotion, as they like to call it in this world, a mom and pop type organization. And I went from there to this big company in Connecticut with a production facility and organization, and it was staffed the way I thought a wrestling company should be staffed, or any company. So I was pretty pumped about being here this whole time. So this goes back and brings back some very good memories for me.
Join us over on Peacock at season 5, episode 13. It originally aired just a handful of days before WrestleMania 5. March 27th, 1989 is when this would air. Primetime Wrestling is what we're talking about over on Peacock, season 5, episode 13. WrestleMania, if you're wondering, was just a few days later, April 2nd. So we're going to be watching some fabulous 1989. Want to give a shout out to our live studio audience. I see Bad Money Slim is here, and Jason Taylor, and James Ilkerai, and Yambag Jones, and Darren Staley, and Alex Wheaton. Greatly appreciate you guys hanging out. It's a party every Monday night, immediately following Monday Night Raw, of course, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. Tony, I'm locked and loaded with Primetime Wrestling. Are you ready on your end?
I am locked and loaded.
In
3, 2, 1, Lizzie.
So we can't listen to the classic Primetime theme. So can you just hum along for us?
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 with Gorilla Monsoon. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun,
I mean,
dun,
listen,
dun.
I got to do just a couple seconds. I mean, I just gotta.
Okay.
Hey, why does that shit hit so good for me?
It was great. It because it was a good theme. That's why it did so well for you.
And how about these guys, man? The Abbott and Costello of pro wrestling. Do you think that's what they were in this era? Gorilla and Bobby?
Probably so. They had such a great chemistry about them. And
here we see Bobby the Brain Heenan coming into Trump Plaza.
Right.
And he's going to be going to the front desk and
all right,
have a little interaction. You got any jackets like that? I know Efren has that one.
I do not have a jacket like that. As a matter of fact, I don't know. I could. No, that is only like like Heenan, or I don't know, Don Callis would wear, maybe, right? Something like that. But this is good stuff.
I think that Nothing Happening goof, Jay-Z, the chicken champ from Bojangles in North Kakalaki, he probably has some silly shit like that jacket, but it's probably got like a chicken biscuit that'll choke a donkey on the back.
Is Jay-Z is still alive?
Yeah, barely.
Yeah,
Saw him sunbathing over the weekend. He had his legs propped up on a picnic table and a handgun right beside him. So things seem to be going well. I don't think he has my new home address, and I can't really complain about that.
There you go. So I haven't seen him in maybe Charlotte a couple of years ago, when he was there with a different female that I'm used to.
Man, he's running through them. He's been uploading all kinds of nudes to the group chat. I mean, it's really shameful what we're seeing. Some of these girls got daddy issues. They're double jointed. I mean, it's a shame.
Wow.
Not really. I made all that up. You know, I'm just bullshitting on the show. He's got weapons. I don't want him looking for me. I made all that.
Exactly. As you do.
Definitely didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, you never know what's going to come out of Conrad's mouth on this show.
Well,
Bobby Heenan right now is, I guess, he jerked the phone out of the young lady's hand who was at the concierge, and now he is going to pitch to our first match.
By the way, I love this. We're seeing, the lighting for the arena. It's we don't have the fancy entrance set, but here come the Bushwhackers, and the spotlight is following them the whole way in. I don't know why this tickles me, but it does. I should mention that some of these matches we're going to be seeing tonight were actually recorded about 3 weeks prior to this on March 7th in El Paso. And I think they actually did a little more the very next day in Odessa, Texas. That was a wrestling challenge taping.
Yeah, I remember
But they had
those.
some primetime wrestling. So the match we're watching right now is actually from March 8th. We're going to see the Bushwhackers taking on Danny Davis and Jose Estrada. Have I ever told you that when he was a kid, this was Cassio Kid's favorite tag team? And how on brand is that, since you know Cassio?
Yeah, I think it's perfect. You would look at that and say, yeah, I get it. You know, El Paso, I remember, you can't do this anymore. And I was at the El Paso and the Odessa tapings. Odessa, they had a big Texas barbecue for us out back. Isn't it funny how you remember just the inane things? And in El Paso, I went with JJ across to Juarez, which you really can't do anymore, I understand. And we went to this restaurant and had a very good meal, very good meal. And there were some fans who had come across the border to see the show. And so I remember these two tapings. And I love how Butch, rest in peace, kicks Danny Davis and then does I guess called the Bushwhacker Stomp or the Bushwhacker March or Shuffle back to the one and only Luke Williams.
By the way, at the conclusion of this match, stay tuned, boys and girls. We're going to see Tony Schiavone actually make his on-camera debut for the WWF.
Wow.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get there, I want to remind you that, man, I'm having a lot of fun with Prize Picks. Basketball playoffs are here, and this is your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup. Whether it's points or rebounds, assists, you can take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000x your cash today. Turn your playoff hot takes into tickets to basketball's championship series. Starting with the play-in round, every lineup you make on Prize Picks will enter you in the Takes Two ticket sweepstakes, which could get you and a +1 a VIP trip to the ship. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while you're watching sports. What are you waiting for? Join millions of users and sign up today. Every Tuesday, by the way, Prize Picks has a different promotion about Taco Tuesday. They're actually going to discount some player stat projections. And even on Friday, they've got a Flex Friday option where you can actually tap the checkbox in your lineup builder for the eligible protected play. All said and done, though, listen, I've had fun with Prize Picks during baseball, during football, but is there anything better than during the NBA playoffs? I don't think so. And now that the playoffs are here and the action is heating up on Prize Picks, it truly is the best place to cash in on your favorite sports. As a reminder, you can add your favorite players in all your different sports. We're talking the ice. That's right. You can do hockey. You can do baseball. You can do basketball. What are you waiting for? Go right now, download the Prize Picks app today, and use our code WHW. You'll get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code WHW to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Yeah, that's the best. That's by far the best app out there.
I mean, I think all the guys listening to this, we've tinkered with a few of them, but all of my buddies, man,
we like this one.
They don't use anybody but Prize Picks.
Yeah, I love it. I made during football season, I made about $400. How about
that?
Yep.
That's pretty good considering you don't give a fuck about any football.
Right. I don't give a fuck about it. But, they give you, you don't really have to follow it. Kind of. I mean, they have on there, they have the stats that you can click. You don't have to do any research. They're kind of doing the research for you.
Hey, Yambag Jones says he nailed 6 days in a row on Prize Picks tonight. And he says the Yankees suck. Coach Rosie says Prize Picks is good shit. And Yambag Jones is asking the hard-hitting questions that everyone listening to this podcast wants to know right now.
Yeah.
Was Tony Schiavone ever licked by the Bushwhackers?
Yes, I was.
How did it feel?
Felt like a couple of tongues on your head.
Oh, so have you had that before the Bushwhackers did it?
No, but I can only imagine, a couple of tongues on your head, right? I mean, what do you What do you think? It was like sandpaper, or was like a
Like a
breath from
cat's tongue?
heaven?
I don't know.
I
I've never
don't
been
know.
licked by a
Okay.
bushwhacker. How would I know? I'm asking questions. I'm trying to learn.
Okay, you can just imagine if someone would lick your head, the tongue would scrape across your head. Okay, scrape across your head with saliva on it, and that's how it would feel. Okay,
Well,
how
I'm
did
just asking.
how did it feel?
I've
What
never
you
had.
you think my head exploded and I saw stars and Casio Kid came to me in a dream or something like that? What are you looking for here?
I think
Give it
you
to me.
just
Tell me what you're looking for here.
humiliation.
I knew it. Get right to it.
I mean, here's the deal. Nobody I know has been licked by both bushwhackers at the same time. I don't know anybody besides Efren who's been licked by two dudes at the same time.
Okay, let's move on here
Oh,
because,
wait, hang on. Is this it?
yeah, I think it is. Heenan is looking over a map of Atlantic City, as you do.
Here we go. There he is. I got to track just a second.
No tickets. You're going to have to get pay-per-view or closed circuit. I'm completely out of
Tony
tickets.
Schiavone.
That's your trouble, not mine.
What a great line. I'm Tony Schiavone. That's your trouble, not mine. God damn, that was so great, dude.
Oh, God, look at that young face.
Oh, man.
Man. Yeah, thank you, Dave.
That's the screen grab we wanted, right
That's
there.
the screen grab we wanted. Dave Silva, you son of a bitch.
Dave, make that a fucking silhouette and put it on a shirt. We got to have that.
Oh,
My God. Can you imagine if that became like the cornet face? Just you for the rest of the show, whenever we get boring, you just have that one popped up for me, Silva. Just like that. That's what I need right there.
Yeah.
Hey, as a reminder, you've told the story before, but fans who had seen you on the NWA and JCP all these years on TBS at this point, they were used to seeing you with the mustache. Here
Right.
you're without the mustache.
Right.
Can you retell that story for us?
Yeah, I can retell that story for us. We were in Binghamton, New York, and well, right now, as we're watching this, Heenan and I are walking through the casino together, and I guess we're going to, Gorilla Monsoon. You know, he was one of the big high rollers. Have you heard that story?
Oh yeah, he used
Yeah.
to walk around with like thousands in his pocket, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, and I've said this before. Heenan said, "Why so much money?" He said, I like to buy things." Heenan said, "You looking to buy a house?" It was, and now we're sitting there, and Heenan is just so good, and Gorilla was so good with him, and I was a fucking not on a log in this threesome here, but I really felt that I really felt I was really honored, honestly, to be with these two guys because primetime wrestling was, it was. I watched it, I enjoyed it, and now here I am with them. So this was some pretty good stuff. So anyway, Binghamton, New York, and Vince McMahon came to me and he says, I need to ask you something, and I hope you don't mind doing this. I guess I was kind of new. I guess had I been there for a couple of years, he would have said, do it. And you have no choice. But he said, do you mind doing this? He said, Gene Okerlund has a mustache, and we'd like him to be our only announcer with a mustache. And will you shave it? And I said, absolutely, I'll do it. And that's why I was mustacheless. David Crockett will tell you that Jimmy Crockett and David Crockett wanted me to grow a mustache when I was first started on TBS, and because they thought it looked too young. And so there you go. There's the story of the mustache.
Hey, let me ask you a little bit about this segment too. I think there was an appearance years ago by Kerwin Silfies on Steve Austin's podcast where he talked about this bit.
Wow.
Is it true that when you guys sat down to film this, that Gorilla said something like, hey, we're going to pretend to play blackjack and you just pretend to deal us the cards? And the dealer said something like, that's a gaming commission violation. I can't pretend to do my job. So Gorilla just actually gambled the entire taping?
Yes. That is true.
As the story goes, Kerwin Silfies told Steve Austin that he saw Gorilla wave a waitress over and tip her with his chips. And Kerwin sees that it's 3 black chips and says, did you just give her a $300 tip? And Gorilla points to his stack. He won $11,000 during this taping.
Which surprises no one.
That's a recap from Tony's favorite, 411fucksheet.com.
Yeah. And, Gorilla was a high roller. So he was one of these guys that got the treatment. He introduced me to a lot of the big casino people during that time. And they took care of his room. You know how you see on movies and everything when a high roller comes in, how they take care of him. Gorilla was one of those guys. All right. So now we've got
this is a clip from the Survivor Series.
Right.
And I think this is where we're seeing Demolition and Mr. Fuji break up.
Uh-huh. Who are the guys in the gold mask?
Those are the Conquistadors.
Of course they are. Are they the Conquistadors that I know of?
That's Edge and Christian.
Okay, that's the ones I was thinking about.
No, it's not really.
That's not really Edge and Christian?
No. Originally, they were originally they were Light and Dark. And it was Randy Colley.
Wow.
And Jose Luis Riviera. And then later, as I understand it, this was Jose Estrada Sr., Jose Luis Riviera, and they were billed as being somewhere in Latin America. So they had one pay-per-view appearance, and this is it, Survivor Series 1988. So it's a deep cut. And how about it comes down to them and the Powers of Pain?
Wow.
I think you could pull off Conquistadors. Why don't we, we just put Starrcast bracelets on sale today over at starrcast.com. That's STARRCAST.com. We're going to be there the Friday and Saturday in Arlington, Texas, right around All-In weekend for AEW. And if you're thinking what I'm thinking,
I don't know.
Just have you and Taz dressed up as the Conquistadors for a photo op.
I'd go for it, but I don't think Taz would go for it.
Okay. What if we had you do Mr. Fuji?
I'd go for it.
I think you can.
No, I'm not going to go for it. They'll say I'm making fun of Asian.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do anything anymore. So, hey, here we go. Powers of Pain up top. Boom.
Well, I don't know if it's true you can't do anything anymore.
You can't do anything anymore.
I think you can do some stuff. Did you know the Macho Man can rap? Did you know that?
I did not know. What's Ashley doing today?
Which Ashley?
Okay. The girl.
Are you talking about Charlotte Flair?
No, I'm talking about the girl.
Oh. Well, hey, you know what? Why don't we meet Bree the barista?
Okay.
Hi, my name's Georgie, and I'm going to teach you how to pull an espresso shot. Just kidding. My name's not Georgie. My name's Bree. And if you go to my website, you can see someone not pulling out.
Wow.
Since we're in a coffee mode, how about a little coffee clip?
Welcome to the Andre's Good Ass Coffee. Booyah! Your mother loves it. We got black coffee and green tea. Sugar and cream is over there. You go do all that yourself. Fuck, we look like Starbucks.
Can I get a caramel macchiato with oat milk because I'm lactose
I don't give a
intolerant?
what you allergic to. I give you the coffee and you go gay it up on your own time. If you want to turn your coffee into a homosexual, you do it yourself. We ain't got no English muffins, but we got ham sandwiches with or without cheese. Wham! All these coffee shops should be ashamed of themselves. $10 coffee. All I charge is $4.67. Plus gratuity. And just a few more questions on the iPad. Hey, it ain't mandatory, but it's strongly suggested. We ain't working for free now. Oh, you like the Wi-Fi? Well, we like when people buy shit. If you bought something, the Wi-Fi name is DeAndre's Good Ass Coffee, password, Swole Pole the Dick Slanger. All one word. If you ain't gonna buy no coffee, you can go shit yourself outside. Bathrooms for customers only, too. Hey, man, even in the coffee shop, baby, you gotta have that fire on you. Bathroom pen is $69.69. Hey, man, quit coming in here asking to start open mic in my coffee shop. Man, nobody want to hear all them virgins telling ass-eating jokes. The people ain't f***ing nobody. Hey, and y'all people that be doing that spoken word, that's over with, because them people don't wear the deodorant. Listen here, man, I'm tired of the attitude coming from them free bleeding hoes. Ain't no open mic spoken word. Coffee, tea. Coffee, tea. Oh, and we got ham sandwich. Hey, we ain't doing no hip-hop night. SoundCloud don't f*** you. And neither do I. Take that shit down the road to the spa. You can tell them same poems to them mother while they shave y'all wolf put sad assholes.
The Wi-Fi password.
Password killed me.
I watched it and I was like, okay, but when he said the Wi-Fi, I was like, I gotta show Tony the Wi-Fi.
Oh God, the Wi-Fi password's the best.
Oh, you like Wi-Fi? We like when people buy shit. My
Okay.
God. Oh, we're back. Here
Yeah.
we are. So no more recaps. Now we're talking to Bobby. We're talking to Gorilla. We're talking to Schiavone. Back
Yeah.
at the table.
Good stuff. And Gorilla and I are agreeing on things. That that looks like a mannequin of Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone.
That looks like your before picture, Tony.
Oh God, some fun days, man.
Coach Rosie says you look constipated. Yambag says that's a farted face.
That's I was trying to think what that face was. It was like Tony Schiavone was a member of the Stepford Wives or something. It was a robot Tony Schiavone. Oh God. So a Gorilla's going to do a pitch here, and Heenan browbeating the old ladies behind him.
I love it.
On the table.
By the way,
like
Bobby Heenan harassing cocktail waitresses had to be funny in real life, on TV, wherever.
Oh man, he was so good at what he did. I am Tony Schiavone. I don't care. That's your problem. That's just like that's not a scripted thing.
No, that's just him off the cuff.
That's right. That's right.
By the way, this is going to be Gorilla's highlight of the episode, because we're going to be recapping when the Red Rooster became a babyface, which means he beat up Bobby Heenan. Did any manager ever take a better ass beating than Heenan? I think as a manager, him and Sherry Martell probably took the best beatings.
Yeah, they did. Heenan was very, very. He could flop around. I don't know. I think I've told you this, that I saw an AWA taping. I guess from a house show where Heenan and a small person teamed. It was like there was one small person on either side, and Heenan and somebody else. It could have been, I don't know, but they got the tag in, and Heenan is laughing, right? And he's turned around and laughing at this very small person, and the small person ends up kicking Heenan's ass. And the way Heenan took the bumps for this kid was unbelievable. I've seen Heenan take bumps in hotel lobbies just to be funny. So
I love that. Jason Taylor wants to know if you can get a time code. You sure can, bud. I'm at 2039, 2040, 2041, 2042, 2043, 2044, 2045.
Yep. And this is, by the way, Primetime Wrestling again, season 5, episode 13. 513.
I don't know, Tony. Can I convince you to? Are you at all even remotely interested
No.
in opening a coffee shop?
No.
Oh, you know what? As we're watching Terry Taylor here, let's find a way to distract ourselves with something fun. Do you know? So you have or have not? I mean, because this is the preview for the Macho Man's most iconic WrestleMania, and I know people would say, "Oh no, that was WrestleMania 3." I get it, but he's in the main event here. And the Macho Man didn't have a lot of main events. I know he wrestled Flair for the title at 8. I know he had the retirement match with Warrior at 7. I know he worked with Dusty at 6. I know he won the belt at WrestleMania 5, but that was a tournament. To be promoted against Hulk Hogan for a year, there was really no better spot for a heel to have in the entire business. Wouldn't you agree, Tony? In 89, you could be the NWA champion Ric Flair and be a big heel, Roll Tide.
Right.
But standing across the ring from Hulk Hogan as a heel headlining WrestleMania, that means you're the number one heel in the industry, right?
Right. Yeah. And this was WrestleMania 5. You said 5 was a tournament. I think 4 was a tournament, right?
Yeah, I meant to say 4 was a tournament, but this is a year later.
Right.
So I feel like this is probably his most iconic WrestleMania match just because of that. I know that people would say, no, the match was better with Steamboat. I get you. But I just mean as far as placement on the card and promotion, this is it.
Yeah, I absolutely. And Heenan does a great job here, man.
Yeah, his facials are great.
Yeah, he's out of breath. He's pissed off. He turns around. He smacked Terry Taylor like we all want to do, and now he is begging off and gets hit. God, I wish we could show this. This is so good. How Heenan is selling this.
Yeah, the way he took that turnbuckle. I mean,
Yeah.
he sort of did a stinger splash by himself and then
Right.
sold.
Yeah,
And this is going to be the Terry Taylor attack here from the primetime set. And I can't even get you to read rap.
no,
Are you familiar with Kanye's new hit song that everybody's talking about?
no.
It's called Cousins.
I bet it is.
Would you like to just know the chorus? I know you're not going to sing it. I know you're not going to say it, but this is the most talked about song in music today.
Really?
Yeah, because it's pretty controversial.
Oh, brother.
What?
Okay, I'll bite. Why is it controversial?
He's saying, that's when I gave my cousin head, gave my cousin head, gave my cousin head. I gave my cousin head. I gave my cousin head.
Okay.
So
Wonderful song.
there you go.
Wonderful song.
Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, and Kanye's cousins.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they don't want you to play Baby It's Cold Outside.
No, it's offensive.
It's offensive. But that,
I gave my cousin head.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal, and I brought this up many times. This is going to be you guys, you younger guys out there. This is going to be your world to inherit. I'm going to be dead, and I don't know if I can look down or look up and see what's going on, but I'm going to laugh at it.
Hey, the Honky Tonk Man just hit Bret Hart over the head with a guitar, and it was not one of those Jeff Jarrett Balsa Wood specials.
Oh my God, no! And it looked like he turned it. It looked like he turned it, hit him on the head with the corner of it.
Oh yeah, it was scored a little bit because look at he took care of him.
Okay, good.
It looked
Yeah. Yeah, I see it. Okay. Wow. Honky tonk man, buddy.
You and I are of course recording here on a Monday.
Yeah.
And I wanted to play for you maybe Elmo's thoughts about Monday.
Elmo?
Yeah.
Like the Elmo the puppet?
Well, take a
Am
look.
I allowed to say puppet? Is that offensive?
We're gonna offend, buddy.
Okay.
If we only did shows that didn't offend anybody, this show wouldn't exist.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's take a listen.
Tracking.
If one more person comes up to me on a Monday and says, Happy Monday, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of them. Happy Monday, my ass. What's so great about Monday? Except for the long ass work week that's about to start. Ain't nothing grand about a Monday. Nothing. Not a damn thing.
Well, you know what? They say Elmo tells it like it is.
More so than Brutus the Barber Beefcake does.
Who you think's more over, Elmo or Brutus the Barber?
In '89?
Yeah. Well,
Elmo.
Okay. All right. You never know.
I mean, Brutus was pretty over in '89, and buddy, he had that Hogan 91 tan right there.
Didn't he ever, man?
So just so I understand, the glow around Jacques Rougeau's head here, I don't think he's fresh off of the set of The Last Dragon.
No.
I think that's from what you guys used to call the chroma key.
That's right. And it wasn't a good chroma key job, put it that way. And of course, technology is not what it's like today either, but
what's the best chroma key job you ever got? And do you remember her name?
No, I do not. Now look here, the Bushwhackers are chroma keyed, and it's not, the halo is not as bad.
Yeah. I assume that's because of the color, but
yeah.
By the way, we're going to see Brother Love show up in the casino in just a minute.
Really?
How fun is it that we're about to have Gorilla, Bobby, Schiavone, and Pritchard all in the same spot? This is fun.
This is great, and they are They're promoting this afternoon, this Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on giant screen closed circuit TV at a location near you. That's how they promoted it. Call your local cable company for details. Boy, it's changed, hasn't it? With streaming. My God.
How about the mirrored ceiling? And there's the eye in the sky. Make sure nobody's cheating. Gorilla Monsoon doesn't need to cheat. Look at that stack of chips growing. The blacks are 100. The greens are 25.
Yeah, legit.
The reds are 5.
You know, I need to ask something, but I want to talk here a little bit about oh God. I want to talk about this, but I want to also talk about when I saw the Bushwhackers arrive in the first match we saw tonight,
Yep.
maybe the second, how you know, I was looking just now. Was that Linda McMahon in the background somewhere?
Was it?
It sure did look like it. No, I just saw her again, lady with the blonde hair. So anyway, how entrances have changed over the years in wrestling.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with technology. I get that. But I wonder when someone, and it had to be with Vince, right? With his production company, someone said, hey, we can do a better job of entrances. We can do a better job of elevating them and making them stars. Oh, and there is Brother Love sneaking around the pillar.
I don't know why this makes me laugh, but the Brother Love character interacting with Gorilla, Bobby, and Tony Schiavone, this is like my Mount Rushmore of talking heads in the WWF in this era. The only thing we're missing is Jesse Ventura, but otherwise, well, shit, now that I'm thinking about it, Mean Gene too. What a great crew you guys had back then. All icons.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of icons in there. Brother Love taking a couple of chips, I'm sure, for his collection plate.
Yeah, that's the gimmick here. He's going to steal some of Gorilla's chips. But I am curious as we're watching, you know, you look at the way, you know, Gorilla is dressed and it looks like he's an extra from Goodfellas.
Yep.
And then you see Brother Love, who's just dressed ridiculously.
Yeah.
But perhaps the most ridiculous thing is that Bobby the Brain Heenan is wearing what he's wearing. And I'm not even talking about the sequin jacket. I'm talking about the bow tie. What kind of an asshole, nothing happening son of a bitch wears a bow tie, Tony?
I don't know. But you know what? They should outlaw them. At least the ones that are black and have glitter all over them.
You sure you didn't wear one like 3 weeks ago?
Oh, yeah, I did. But that was another thing.
What was that?
It was a different show, different bow tie. It was another thing.
Okay. You ain't got to get hot about it.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Show everybody your shirt. That's a pretty fun shirt.
Yeah, this is actually, I think Adam Demoy gave me the shirt. This is on the set of World Championship Wrestling. Ole Anderson talking to Gordon Solie. One of my favorite shirts. Good stuff.
No wonder FTR wanted to spike your ass. That's what Yambag Jones says. I mean, sporting a damn bow tie, you deserved it.
Yeah.
Who had longer hair at their longest? Was it you or Bruce?
Bruce. Bruce did by far. I didn't have hair like that. I flipped around on the collar. Flipped around on the collar.
Dude, when you started with AEW, you had it flipped around on the collar.
No, I didn't have it that long. I would have loved to have hair that long.
Why didn't you?
I don't know. I just got to a point to where somebody at this house said, cut the hair, please.
I can't believe this is a real thing, but Darren Staley wants to know, Tony, who had longer pubes?
Well, Darren, I don't know. We never compared them, you know? We never talked about things like that. Now, maybe in your world, you know, you could have measured them. I don't know, but I don't know. They say the older you get, the longer they grow, is what I've been told.
Well, I mean, you're older than you've ever been. Is that true?
Longer than they've ever been? I don't know because I've never measured them.
Well, let's fucking do that. Yell
No,
down.
let's not. Let's not. We're watching a pro wrestling show here. Okay? We are watching Primetime Wrestling right before WrestleMania.
You
okay?
brought it up.
No, I didn't bring it up. Darren freaking Staley brought it up.
He wants to know your best guess. Are you
I
going
don't
to
have.
tell
I
us?
don't have a guess.
Show us with your fingers how long your dick hair is.
I'm not guessing on pubes. Okay. All right.
Oh God.
Yeah. All right. So now we're back at the casino once again, and I guess we're going to show Jake the Snake Roberts with the snake. By the way, Darren Staley, a real snake, shaking it at Andre the Giant. And Andre, have you been told this story? He was legitimately afraid of snakes. So
Yeah.
the fear you saw on Andre's face during that time was real fear.
If Andre's sort of weakness or if his kryptonite was a snake, what was Tony Schiavone's kryptonite? Pulling out.
My kryptonite?
Yeah. What could you just not do? It scared you to death.
Oh, it's got to be snakes too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think, and I know you're scared to death of them as well.
Yeah, I'm not a snake fan.
Yeah, because I remember
and I think if you are, you're fucking weird.
Because I remember that one show that we went to, and I guess it was during our very first, which we had such a great time, Top Guy Weekend. A guy brought a snake to the ring, and you just walked the other way, just calmly, and I could tell there was fear in that walk. But dumbass Dave Silva put it around his neck.
He ain't got no sense.
He ain't got none. He ain't got none. Yeah.
Jason Taylor says his oldest son loves snakes. You need to check that boy out. Something's wrong with him.
Yeah, you need to put him up for adoption there, I would think, Jason.
Well, I'm not going to say all that, but
okay, I would, because if he loves snakes, he's going to have to bring a snake in the house eventually. Ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen here. Have I told you the story about Lois and the twins and Chris?
No.
Okay, so we're talking about Chris had to be. So Chris is about 2 years older than the twins. So Chris had to be 4. The twins had to be 2, and this was Connecticut time, and we're pushing.
What a great iconic clip that we're seeing here. Andre's reaction. I didn't realize.
Right.
This is from Saturday night's main event, October 29th, 1988. This is a replay.
Right.
But him backing away with his hands, say, no, no, no. That is a meme I see all the time on social media. And I didn't realize that it was from Saturday night's main event. And it's in the show we're reviewing. This is cool.
Yeah, look at this. I'm telling you, that would just freak me out as well. Look at that. Oh, man, that's some real fear right there. That close up of the face. See that? That would be Andre looking at Dave Silva naked.
Look at that face.
Yeah.
I saw a here at the lake last Tuesday. I was hanging out with my cousin Baby Nuts, and we went to his favorite watering hole. I'd never been there. It was fine. But there's it's overlooking the water. So he said, "Hey, let's go outside." So we went out there, and I'll be damned, we're out there less than 10 minutes, and I see a snake hauling ass across the top of the water.
Wow.
And I haven't seen that here at the lake in a long time. And it's something to see, because when that bastard goes underwater and then he pops up several yards away, what feels like minutes later, you're like, oh, okay, this is another animal that we're dealing with here. Yeah. But we had a conversation over Easter weekend, because this is the type of conversation you have over Easter. Because my mom says, hey, if you got bit by one of those, first of all, what kind of snake was it? My cousin didn't hesitate. It was a water moccasin. Okay. So if you get bit by a water moccasin, is that poisonous? And he goes, yes, ma'am, it is. Well, what do you need to do? Get to a hospital. And like, how fast? Like about 20 minutes or you die. Where's the nearest hospital? About a half hour away. And so she's like, so what do you do? And they're like, well, just put the boat on cruise control and just take one last peaceful, easy ride. That's it. And she's like, no, seriously, what do you do? And we had the discussion of, how does, and you know where I'm going with this, if you know about Curly Bill, City Slickers, can you suck the poison out?
Right.
Will that work? We've all heard that.
Right.
And that created a discussion at the house over Easter, which I thought was funny. Only our family would do this. hey, how can you get it in your mouth and then it not kill you? Wouldn't it just go through your membrane in your mouth? Like, how does that work? And so my cousin, who has had a girlfriend for way too long, and they live together, and he's like, there's no chance I'm ever sucking the poison out of anybody, no matter what. Sorry, the end. And I'm like, hang on now. This girl that you love, that you live with, that you own property with, if she got bit by that snake and you could suck the poison out and you would both live, he goes, I'm sorry, but I'll just have to get a new girlfriend. And I don't know why, but that was hilarious to me. And I couldn't even imagine that. And I was like, dude, wouldn't you feel ashamed and embarrassed? And he goes, no, I'm going to tell everybody else I did all I could. I'm just not going to do it. I'm like, you wouldn't be able to live with yourself? He goes, I live with myself just fine. I'm not sucking the poison out. So I guess my question is, Tony, if Lois got bit, would you try to suck the poison out, or would you just kiss her on the forehead and say, we had a good run, honey?
No, I tried to suck the poison out. Have you seen snake bite kits?
No, but does Jake sell those back in this era? Because that was
No
an opportunity, if not.
And of course, I grew up in a very rural area where there were snake bite kits, and they had instructions with them, and the instructions was to cut at the snake bite with a cross, and then they had a pump that you pumped and sucked the blood and the poison out with it.
So we just got to keep those on our person at all times.
At all times, right?
Like we're good to go. As long as we have it in our back pocket, we're fine.
Exactly. So Lois has the 2 kids and 3 kids in a cart, and we're in Target, and I'm she went out, took a left, and I'm still in an aisleway, and this old lady is behind Lois, and she looks, and Chris says, look, Mom. And there was a tank where they were selling snakes, right? And there was a snake, obviously, in the snake tank. And Lois says, to where everybody in the store can hear them with her small children, a fucking snake! The lady behind her almost had a heart attack because Lois as loud as she could with our beautiful young children of 4 and 2.
That makes me think of a phrase that many dads have said to their kid when they had to wake them up. I'm sure when you had teenage boys in the house and you were trying to make sure everybody was up and getting ready to go to school, you may have knocked on the door and said, wakey, wakey, hands off snakey.
I've heard that one.
But hey, listen, there is a way to make sure that people don't want to keep their hands off snakey. I'm talking about Blue Chew. Blue Chew Max is here, and it's going to make your wiener feel like it belongs to Andre the Giant. It combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable. This is a combo that acts fast and lasts, and you might get it so impressive if you trim those really, really long gray pubes that Schiavone has that maybe somebody will want to suck the poison out. I don't know. Guys, be ready when she needs it and get your first month of Blue Chew free. Great sex is just a few clicks away. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, well, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew's tablets are made here in the USA. They're prepared and shipped directly to your door. And the best part is it's all done online. Now, that means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversation, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. So make your life easier by getting harder and discover your options at bluechew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use the promo code WHW. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code WHW. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's podcast. Hey, speaking of Blue Chew, Yambag Jones wants to know, have you been keeping up with Harley Cameron at Coachella?
Saraya and Harley Cameron, I've not, but I got to say they're 2 of my favorites. What's going on with that?
What's going on with what?
Saraya and Harley Cameron at Coachella.
Well, I didn't see Saraya, but I did see Harley Cameron at Coachella. I mean, Coachella is a big music festival that happens in California.
Oh.
I don't know if you're on that. I saw it was Anna Jay.
Okay.
Harley Cameron, but I could be wrong.
Well,
Saraya was there as well, yeah.
Saraya lives out there, so very well could have been.
Yeah, I guess a lot of our guys are pretty fired up about that. We're seeing the pose off. It's a recap as we're getting ready for WrestleMania 5, where we know that Rick Rude will be in there with the Ultimate Warrior. So we're showing clips of the Royal Rumble in January they did the pose off, and of course with that bar there that Rick Rude was using to get a pump, he's now attacking the Ultimate Warrior with.
As you do.
I got to tell you, as a kid, this was a fun feud for me. This is actually the first feud I remember the Ultimate Warrior having.
Right. It was one of the more memorable ones, I think. That besides, with Hogan and the not the WCW one, but the one in WrestleMania 6, the more memorable one. Rude was so great, man. God.
These face-to-faces here, I've seen a shoot interview with Mean Gene Okerlund where he said that this was a stressful and unenjoyable time in the company when they were trying to do these face-to-faces. This wasn't a long-lived thing here, but there would be these segments where instead of it just being a stand-up interview, you have the two podiums and you bring the guys together. And I guess Mean Gene said that was more stressful than doing it backstage in a more pre-tape environment, doing it here in front of a live crowd. I guess that makes sense. What do you think of this face-to-face concept, Tony?
Well, of course, we do them as well. Guys go to the ring and they'll talk, and Vince is being the moderator here. I did Gene say why this was so stressful? I mean, he's not in this one, so I don't know.
I think it was based on the idea that, he has to do the heavy lifting for the guys. And sometimes if it's a pre-tape, there's no audience around. So you can just do it again.
Do it again, right.
Do it again. And then you can nail it. But when you have an audience, maybe that's not the case. Rick Rude's cutting a hell of a promo here on The Ultimate Warrior. But Brother Love actually had a funny line as he's previewing this WrestleMania matchup with Rick Rude and The Ultimate Warrior. He says, the Warrior might lose the match by forfeit when he forgets to change his watch for daylight savings time.
That's good.
Look how jacked he is, man. That's what your wiener's going to look like with Blue Chew Max. Just all muscled up, veins popping out everywhere.
God, I don't
ready
know.
to explode.
Oh, speaking of looking great, holy smokes. This is all oiled up.
Dude, he's ready.
Yeah, he is. But what in the world is it worth?
Aaron Staley, man, I don't know what his obsession with pubes is, but we got to get Manscaped back as a sponsor because he wants to know when Tony was showering with the wrestlers or saw them in the locker room, did he ever notice their pubes? Who shaved, groomed, and went wild?
Okay.
Why do we want to know? I understand when we're like, hey, can you imagine WWE's promoting a new show on Netflix that comes out this summer called Unreal, Tony, and they actually have cameras in the writer's room and they're showing the producers delivering like just the actual real behind the scenes of what happens before show goes on the air. Now it's not about current stuff. It's about stuff that happened, last year or what have you. But the idea that, guys, we're going to lift the curtain. We're finally going to answer all the questions you've had. Like, Darren, I know you're watching at home and you've always wanted to know who has the longest pubes in the locker room. Let's find out. How did this happen? And why are your faithful listeners like this, Tony? I do 4 other podcasts and none of this shit comes up on those shows at all. It's only with you.
It's only because you probably don't talk the trash on those that you do on this one.
I've never talked trash on the show.
You're the one that started all this with all
How
this
did I
talk.
start it?
Yeah, you brought the level down of entertainment.
I brought it down.
Yeah. Now we're talking about pubes and how long penises are and shit like that. Well, we should be talking about wrestling.
Well, I'm fine. Tell us some wrestling stories.
Okay. Darren Staley obviously has a infatuation with pubes. I don't know, Darren.
Him, I guess. I don't know. What should we do?
Lane. Stay in your lane. I don't know, man. Pubes.
Stay in your lane, man. I don't know why, but that was your big Lebowski moment right there. Stay in your lane, man. You know what I think Darren should do? I think he should, and maybe Silva can help us out with this. Maybe he should shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone does it. Now you can do it too. Shut the fuck up. Shut your mouth. Shut up. Shut the hole in your face. Like that. You can do it. Shh. Shut up. And shut the fuck up.
She was so happy saying that, wasn't she?
She was.
Yeah, beautiful lady. dressed in red.
Hey, you know what, Darren? If you're interested, hypothetically, in exploring that topic more, why don't you go check out Bree? Hit it, Silva.
Hi, my name's Georgie, and I'm going to teach you how to pull an espresso shot. Just kidding, my name's not Georgie, my name's Bree. And if you go to my website, you can see someone not pulling out.
Hey, I don't know if you saw, but we've got King Haku here in the square. I always loved when you had a match and then you would fly in a square and it would
Right.
be whoever their opponent was going to be cutting a promo.
Right.
But that Haku crown was actually discovered in the last 2 or 3 years, and it's a part of a private collection in Florida now. How cool is that?
That's great, man. I love that crown. I think it's when you see it, you know exactly what it is. And the Macho Man had it. Who else had it? Harley Race had it.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan had it. Just
Now, I did
iconic.
like the Macho crown. I'm not going to lie. I love
Right.
that Macho crown.
Yeah. The Macho King. I love that. The Macho King, Randy Savage.
I saw an interview, an old shoot interview about Hercules, and I did not realize that he ended his life in a really, really poor financial state. As the legend goes, all the money he was making during this run went to child support, and there was enough to keep him on the road and going. But when his days in the ring were over, his days earning a living were over. I did not know that. Have you heard that about Herc?
Not at all. I never knew how he died. I'd never heard that before. So that's a shame because Herc was a good kid. He really was. Nice young man.
Gone way, way too soon. He passed away at just 47 years old
Jeez.
of heart disease at his home in Tampa. I don't know if you've been keeping up with it, and I know that you, as a rule, have a pretty hardened stance towards the creators of Dark Side of the Ring.
Yep.
I want to encourage you to go out of your way to see last week's episode on Tony Atlas.
Yep.
It's not like all the other episodes you've seen, Tony. There's nothing scandalous or salacious or whatever. But it is a really feel-good story, and I think it might be one of the more uplifting and motivational ones and positive ones. It tells a great story and gives a lot of context to Tony Atlas that I didn't know ahead of time. Like, I know people have poked fun at his sort of shoe fetish, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, foot fetish, whatever.
He
Yeah.
goes into great detail about it, and it totally changed my opinion. And I went from being sort of lukewarm on Tony Atlas to he's got to be one of the more lovable figures in wrestling. So I encourage you to check it out, Tony. I know you're not gonna, but I am
Right.
going to say it's not like the other episodes that you didn't enjoy.
Well, did those guys want to do an episode, something like that, or were they forced into doing an episode like that?
No, I mean, they tell a great story. I know
Okay.
that's hard to imagine, but
Yeah.
it's good stuff. So Hercules just got a win over Tim Patterson. Now it's time for our WrestleMania 5 report. Mean Gene is going to be here to run down the full card. We're going to hear from Strike Force. And coming up next, we've got the Brooklyn Brawler working with Paul Roma. Then we're going to recap exactly what happened with the Mega Powers. But our main event on this show is a pretty big deal. It's the Rockers and the Brainbusters. How fun is that?
Wow. Holy smokes. That's going to be great. I'd like to see Shawn Michaels before he became the big star. And wow, Marty Jannetty, of course, went another direction.
Can you imagine if Marty Jannetty had a LinkedIn? How fucking hilarious it would be.
Oh, wow.
Started work at WWE on March 7th.
Yeah.
Finished up work at WWE on March 12th. Started work in WWE September 9th. Finished up work in WWE October 2nd. It's just his resume and his LinkedIn would be hilarious.
Yeah. What do you think about this WrestleMania card? This, when you think back about the stars that they had back then, this is not a bad card.
I loved it. It's one of my favorite WrestleManias to this day. I tell you what, I liked WrestleMania 5 a lot more than I liked WrestleMania 41.
Yeah, okay, so apparently a lot of people didn't like WrestleMania 41.
Hey, speaking of Marty Jannetty, I thought, you know what? Let's just go check him out on Facebook, see what he's up to these days. And on October 1st of 2024, he made a post that said, "For those who care, I'm in the same boat as Pete Rose. He died. He'll go in now. I met him once at a personal appearance signing connection, and he and I sat at the same table. You'll be shocked to know he was a cut-up kind of guy. We messed with the fans all convention long, laughed so damn much, but here's the parallels. I get asked about when I'm going into the Hall of Fame for wrestling as the Rockers, if not myself. Anyone came from where I did and made it as far as I did would be in the Hall of Fame of life. I had zero chance. Growing up, all my teachers would even tell me I was going to end up dead soon or in jail, and I'm still here. I guess they got that one wrong. But imagine being 7 years old, then 8, then 9, then 10, and hearing that from all your teachers. Pete was barred from being in the hall for a different reason than me being barred from being in the hall, but it's the same. He'll go in now that he died. I'd loves to be in the hall, but I ain't going to die to do it. But when I do, y'all won't be around to see it, because Mustafa Shady told me last time I almost died and saw him in heaven, you ain't due yet, Dad. You got 40 more years. That was 2 years ago, so I've got 38 more now. So there you have it. Stop asking me when I'm going into the hall. It's a bullshit hall, but I'm one of the best bullshitters ever. I'll be there. I just wish you'd be there to see it.
Well, I guess Marty's right in many levels. The only thing that I kind of disagree with on all that, boy, Morton Downey Jr. is doing a promo here.
And then Brother Love back to back.
Anyway, so the only thing I disagree with on that is that I've met Pete Rose a couple of times, and he was not a nice man. So I don't know. And I met him I met him back in 1983.
I do want to talk about the Hall of Fame, but Tony, as we're recording tonight,
Yeah.
it just wrapped up Monday Night Raw. And at the conclusion of the show, I know you didn't see what happened over WrestleMania weekend, but here's a spoiler for you.
Okay.
Rick Steiner's son, Braun Breaker, lost the Intercontinental title.
Okay.
And Paul Heyman, your favorite,
right?
He double-crossed CM Punk and Roman Reigns. He's aligned himself with Seth Rollins. And we closed the show with Roman Reigns taking care of business with Paul Heyman. Punk is here to try to make the save. And then, well, here's Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins are now both aligned with Paul Heyman. And I know that you don't give a shit about any of this, but since you know his father, I wanted to get your reaction to the former manager of the Dangerous Alliance, now managing Rick Steiner's kid. Isn't that a crazy circle?
You got to wrap your head around that and think a little bit about that. You really, really do. I'm glad Braun Breaker's getting a push.
Yeah.
I really am. You know, the night that Cody wrestled Wardlow in the cage, it was Atlanta. It was at State Farm Arena.
He broke his toes on that moonsault, didn't he?
I don't remember that, but you're probably right. But that kid, Braun Breaker, Rick Steiner's kid, was in the backstage area, and I talked to him for a long time. And in talking to him, I gathered that he had no interest in pro wrestling. He wanted to go into football. He wanted to go to the NFL, and he was a very good football player in high school, and I guess in college as well. But from talking with him, he had no interest in wrestling, and look at him now, right? Things change. You get a push, get money. Well, good for him, and good for Rick.
Joined in progress here, the Brooklyn Brawler and Paul Roma. You know, the Terry Taylor had to be worrying about his career decisions when he finally gets to turn on Bobby the Brain Heenan and he goes babyface, but they immediately pair him with the Brooklyn Brawler.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, one would think of it that way, but you got to hang in there, and Terry Taylor's still working in the business, right? You just never know where you're going to end up. You never know where the sport of professional wrestling, when it chews you up and spits you out, where it spits you out. Could be anywhere.
You'll be happy to know that Darren Staley has announced that he's going to bed.
Okay.
Long day at work tomorrow. Thanks for the fun. I really needed it here. Much love to everyone here. Do you think he's going to have visions of pubes dancing in his head tonight?
I don't think there's any question about that. Darren.
Hey, speaking of pubes, before he gets out of here,
yeah,
I think we got a little song that Darren will appreciate. I know you'll appreciate, and I know for a fact the M-Bag and Bad Money Slim are in. Hit it, Silva.
But it feels just a little bit bigger now.
That wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but I appreciate that. Do we have something, maybe a lady singing a funny, silly song?
She drowns in skeet. All her eggs are scrambled and her cooters beat. She shares the deeds on her OnlyFans where she feels so elite. Don't stand downwind when she spreads her legs, so don't stand downwind.
That is some lyrics right there, brother. Huh?
The idea that it's a lady singing it, strumming a guitar.
Yeah, and serious, right?
Yes.
With a beautiful voice.
I mean, she crushed it.
Yes, she did. Oh, the things you find on the internet.
Don't stand down with it. What is going on? I mean, what smells worse, standing down with from that lady or watching a Brooklyn Brawler match?
I don't know, man.
He's had this submission hold on forever. And look at the people behind him. It's like they're in a fucking hostage situation. Look at Bobby Heenan. Like, what are we doing? Just hold up today's paper so we know you're okay. Is Roman going for an electric chair here? Yeah, how about that? Oh, God. Bryant says, now that song has never sounded better. That is a pretty fun remix for that song.
That is. God, the things you can find on the internet. That coffee thing and that password.
The Wi-Fi password got me.
The Wi-Fi password. I would use it, but I'm sure a lot of people are using it now.
Yeah, you don't want that.
You don't want that one.
By the way, here's what you do want if you're looking for things on the internet. You want some Magic Spoon. By now, you brag about how nostalgically delicious Magic Spoon is. And this podcast is all about nostalgia. I mean, look at us watching wrestling from 1989. Here's a spoiler for you. When I was watching this way back when, I guarantee I had a big bowl of cereal. But then when we grow up, we realize, hey, man, I don't need a big bowl of sugar. I need more protein. Magic Spoon hooks you up, and you've heard me brag about their high-protein treats, how they're crispy, crunchy, airy, and an easy way to get 12 grams of protein on the go. They've got the marshmallow-flavored ones. Those taste just like the ones Mom used to make. But I recommend the double chocolate. But now Magic Spoon has a brand-new granola pack with 13 grams of protein and 0 added sugars and all the great flavors, like dark chocolate almond, honey almond, and even peanut butter. I'm telling you, these are fantastic. If you're looking for high protein granola, if you're looking for what we would call a healthy snack, look no further. And true to the Magic Spoon promise, it's packed with protein and so crunchy. Go get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/WHW or look for Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/WHW for $5 off. Coming up in our main event, we've got the Rockers. We just heard from Marty Jannetty earlier. He's going to be teaming with Shawn Michaels to take on Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and their manager, Bobby the Brain Heenan. And they're going to go 10 minutes and 43 seconds.
Wow.
Two of the absolute best from that era. I imagine that this is not too terribly long into their run. When did they debut? Do you remember? Was that October?
Yeah, it was right before I arrived. So I arrived in February. They would have arrived like October, November, I would think.
October 88. There you go.
There you go. As I've heard before, it was the great it was a great exodus from Turner Broadcasting. It was Arn and Tully, it was JJ, it was me, it was Rugged Ronnie Garvin. Who else left at that time? A bunch of us left at that time. And then, of course, a couple of years later, Ric Flair.
Bag Jones wants to know, any comment from Taz about his pen pal photo from last week?
No, none at all.
Was Taz at TV last week?
He was not.
Okay. So it's this week he's going to bust your balls.
Right, right. He was not at TV last week because
we don't have to say.
No, we don't have to say, but yeah. Oh God, I hate being this old and forget what I was going to talk about.
Well, you were talking about when people were coming over from JCP, but I was trying to get you to bust balls about Taz.
Yeah.
I know that if Taz would have been at TV last week, and if Hook would have been at TV last week, Hook would be a member of the Trios Championship team.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, Powerhouse Hobbs stepped up. Were you surprised to see Samoa Joe tap out John Moxley clean in the middle last week?
Shocked. Completely shocked. Fans bought into it, though.
Yeah, they did.
Absolutely. Okay, here's what I wanted to ask. And as we've got in this watch along, we've got about 30 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you this because I guess I'll hear people talking about it on Wednesday. But what exactly, you said The Rock did a no-show at WrestleMania, is that it?
So on March 1st at Elimination Chamber, well, I guess I should back up. At the Royal Rumble, I guess that was like February 1st or whatever it was, Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble. So he earned his right to pick who he was facing at WrestleMania. He chose Gunther. And Elimination Chamber, they had a series of guys vying for a shot against Cody. And the winner was John Cena.
Got it.
So Cody gets in the ring to congratulate John Cena. And here comes The Rock.
Okay.
And The Rock cuts a promo and he says he wants Cody's answer. He wanted his soul. Are you going to come with me, boy? And all this stuff. And Cody says, hey, Rock, go F yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And they let a uncensored F word fly.
Yeah.
And then The Rock did the little throat slash thing. Mm-hmm. And John Cena, who was hugging Cody for standing up to The Rock, kicked him in the gonads, and they put the beat down on him. And everyone sort of assumed that The Rock, since he was a big part of John Cena's turn, he was going to be involved in the main event. Now, maybe not wrestling, but just making an appearance. And there was lots of speculation that, hey, if The Rock shows up, maybe Stone Cold would show up. And people, when they were interviewing between March 1st and now, Stone Cold, when he was doing his ATV races and things, they'd say, hey, are you going to be in Las Vegas? And he actually lives in Nevada now, not right by Las Vegas, but he lives out there.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I'm living out here now, and if Cody needs some help, I'll be around. So fans were really hoping and expecting, I think, that Travis Scott and The Rock and John Cena would be there putting the boots to Cody, and then the glass breaks and people lose their freaking mind. Well, that didn't happen. So right before the match started with Cody and John Cena, the glass did break. Stone Cold was supposed to drive his ATV up a ramp, down the ramp, and around the ringside area. And he couldn't figure out how to get up the ramp, but eventually he did. And after he made one pass or maybe a second pass on the third revolution, he crashed right into the barricade and knocked a lady down. And then he jumped in the ring and announced that even though they sold out the night before, Tony, total sellout, 61,000 people, totally sold out. Well, the next day they announced there were 63,000 people.
Wow.
I don't know how you sell 2,000 more when you already sold out, but whatever. 124,000. So Stone Cold made the attendance announcement, drank some beer, and Nick Khan quietly went over and checked on the lady. Austin did too. A lot of fans online were eating her alive, saying, oh, she was flopping like LeBron. She fell later. I don't know about that. I hope the lady's okay. Anytime you have a vehicle in the ringside area, you just hope nothing bad happens. And considering all the silly shit we've seen in wrestling, I mean, they've walked bears and tigers to the ring before. So I'm just thankful that hopefully nobody was seriously hurt. But I think fans at the end of the show last night were chanting for The Rock and sort of looking around like, well, where is he? Like, we were under the impression that he was aligned with John Cena against Cody, and he's not here. We didn't expect him to wrestle, but he's not even making an appearance, and he wasn't there.
Okay, but he wasn't advertised to be there, right?
No, but they started a story that felt like, the story was about The Rock and Cody.
Yeah.
And then when the story came to an end, and clearly that's not the end.
Right.
So I think they've got time, as long as they put a button and a bow on this with Rock and Cena by the end of the year, that's fine. But I think a lot of people came to WrestleMania and spent more money than ever before on tickets, expecting to see this, and well, that didn't happen.
Well,
but listen, Kevin Sullivan, if he were here, he'd say that's heat, brother. So we'll see.
Yeah. Now we're watching here the February 3rd, 89 main event. Hogan had gone in the back, checked on Ms. Elizabeth, and had asked on the TV, "What's the time, guys?" Remember that?
Yeah.
And now he's going to go back in, and this is when the mega powers explode, right?
Yep. Did you see Akeem just take a giant bump to the floor?
No.
Dude, he ate shit. He went to the top. He went to bounce off the top rope, and his head slipped.
Oh, my God.
And he went between the top and middle rope right to the floor.
There it was. Oh, see, I'm behind you.
Oh, I got you.
Okay, I'm behind you. I just saw it there. Good God, he's probably dead.
Well, no, he gets back up and continues the match. But I wanted to tell you that what's interesting is that happened to Arn Anderson once. So when Arn Anderson was just working the territories, he wasn't necessarily with JCP. He wasn't in the Horsemen, none of that stuff. Flair was in town, and Arn took the big bump like that. And back then, of course, there were no pads around the ring. So he just ate shit on the concrete. And when he woke up, he was in a hospital.
Wow.
And there was one wrestler there, Richard Morgan Fleer, the NWA World Champion, stayed with him to check on him. And they became fast friends after that. And I thought that was a cool little origin story of their friendship, that when all the other guys were like, oh, hated for Marty, headed to the next town, Rick was there.
Right. That is cool.
Yeah.
That is a great story. Okay, so the Macho Man has slapped Hogan in the face and walks away, and a guy grabs Macho Man's hand. And so now this is the beginning of the end of the Mega Powers.
Yeah, and they're going to do promos after this, and Hogan's going to talk about he's glad that WrestleMania is finally here because his stomach's been in knots whenever he tries to talk about his ex-friend. And Savage cuts a great promo, and he says something like, no pukesters to my left, no pukesters to my right, didn't need them then, don't need them now.
Love it. Pukesters.
Look at that belt. That's the best belt of all time, dude. Isn't it crazy to think WWE doesn't even have a dual-plated winged eagle like that?
I think I've asked you this before, but who has that?
Nobody knows. If I knew, I'd trade my dog for one.
Oh,
Not really.
Yeah.
Hey, Yambag Jones says, Conrad, we know Pop has something controversial to say about Cena beating his record. Just give us the cliff notes, please. That's actually not true. He holds John Cena in the highest regard. He appreciates that, he had that crazy, insane schedule of the WWE champion back when they had all kinds of media and all kinds of house shows. You were just never at home, and it required an incredible sacrifice. And I think he saw the way WWE leaned on John Cena all those years, and it made him have an enormous amount of respect for him because he lived that life when he was the touring NWA champion. And let's be honest, John Cena can drink like a motherfucker. And so when they went drinking together and Rick couldn't outdrink John, now it was like, oh, he really is a workhorse, and he stays in great shape, and he's got a positive mental attitude and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, Rick holds him in absolute highest regards. That being said, it would not surprise me to see Rick to start signing instead of 16X. Woo. It wouldn't surprise me if he started signing 21X. Woo.
Anybody that's known John Cena in the business holds him in high regard.
Almost in everyone. There's a handful of people who were haters and would say, oh, he held me back and blah, blah, blah. And listen, anytime there's a girl involved, a lady involved, a woman involved, a love interest involved, you're going to get some of that.
Yeah. Or money.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Right.
I don't know if you saw, but last night after John Cena became the 17-time world champion, I saw a few tweets that made me laugh that just said something like, boy, Tony Khan and AEW have a chance to do the most hilarious thing ever. And they photoshopped Ric Flair with the AEW belt around his waist. I'm a 17-time world champion, and I don't have any inside information, but let me just go ahead and go way out on a limb and say that won't happen. But it would be hilarious.
Yeah, I love the bookers we have on social media. The Macho Man just went crazy here. He threw down Elizabeth.
Hard.
Yeah, hard. Now Hogan's going to do his big promo in front of the grave.
My stomach's in knots, brother.
Yeah. Back in the day, they had like four different backstage places to do interviews. And when they had rooms to do it in, they would bring in all the what I call the sonic board or the boards for soundproofing.
Yeah.
If they didn't, they had these gigantic rooms they built. They looked like gigantic they were like gigantic boxes. And there was English 1, English 2, and they were rooms with chroma key in them. There was International, and that was a room with the chroma key. And then there was this room, which had that gray background. And that gray background was for anything that was going to air on the actual television show. English 1 and English 2 was for the local promos, right? But anything that aired on the actual TV show, you notice all the fly-ins that you would see back then had the gray background on it. And they put Hogan on this too. You know what? I go back to the old Magnum TA thing. Hogan knew how to look into the camera, buddy. He just had a stare that just brought him right into your living room. And all the greats did.
Dude, how great is Macho Man's promo here?
Yeah.
The intensity and that side eye. I mean, he always wore shades, so to take them off.
Right.
Was awesome.
That was awesome. And again, he's looking right at you, brother. Not turning away. God, he was a talent. Holy smokes. Oh, there'll never be another one like him. I can tell you that.
Hey, speaking of never seeing another one like him, have you ever watched WWE programming and noticed the green shirt guy sitting in the front row?
You talking about back then or now?
Now.
I don't watch WWE programming now.
The same guy for years and years and years has sat front row ringside at every major pay-per-view and event. And there's been a lot of conspiracy theories about this fellow. Like, hey, does he work with WWE? How does he keep getting these seats? And over the weekend, that volume really got turned up because they saw him sitting inside the guardrail next to a timekeeper. That was on Saturday. And on Sunday, he actually walked down the ramp with ring announcer Wade Barrett, or one of the commentators, Wade Barrett, before the show was live on pay-per-view.
Uh-huh.
And I think he did one other thing. But as the rumor and innuendo goes, he paid 6 figures for the right to do that, Tony. How cool is that? Like, if you wanted to have lunch with John Cena, you could do that for $25,000. If you wanted to buy the outfit he turned heel in, which is jorts and a t-shirt, that was $75,000. If you wanted to watch a match with Shawn Michaels and 20 friends, that was $8,500. Well, apparently walking down the ramp at WrestleMania was for sale. How wild is that?
That's nuts. I mean, I'm glad people have all this money that they can, this extra throwaway money they can do things like this with. Because I don't know if I brought it up on this program. My favorite athlete of all time is Reggie Jackson.
Yes.
By far. But I would not pay any amount of money to be with him. And, like have dinner with him, lunch with him, or anything like that. I think that's just something wrong about that. Now, I did those, I guess when they were fashionable, I don't do them anymore. Remember the things we did where we could cut a promo and send it to you?
Yep.
The low-key big hogs here, I'm not so sure who spearheaded that. It may have been Mark Nelson, had Reggie do one of those for me. And it really meant a lot. But I just don't know if I would do that. So wait a minute, hang on. Yambag Jones says he's never even gotten my phone call. Wow.
Put your number in the chat right now.
Put your number in the chat.
And we're going to call you right now live on the fucking air.
We're going to call you on the fucking air.
right now. It's
Right
just our
now.
friends from ad-free shows, but give us the number. We're going to put you on speaker and we're going to call you right now.
That's right.
We're going to make sure you get your motherfucking phone call. By the
Get
way,
your motherfucking phone calls. What we're going to do.
get you a motherfucking phone call right now at patreon.com/WHW Monday. And even if we forget it years later, we'll call you live on the air, talk shit about you.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Oh, and Coach Rosie, my Crip Mac cameo didn't mean much. Jesus Christ. Are we pissing? Does everybody have the red ass tonight?
Coach
It meant
Rosie,
a lot, Coach Rosie. God damn.
you can't say,
Fuck
like, if
me.
you said, man, I love apples. Why do you hate oranges?
Jesus
Cancel Tony Schiavone.
Christ.
He's got big heat with oranges.
Holy shit. Wow.
Is that nothing happening, son of a plumber? Yambag Jones going to give us his number or not?
Yeah, he fell asleep.
No, he's not.
Okay.
Hey, I don't know how to bring us down here, but I feel like I should bring it up because you brought it up before. The Pope passed away.
Yeah, I heard that. Right after Easter.
You know, you told us not that long ago you kind of you hope to be a deacon in an alternate universe.
Yes.
Now would be a nice time for you to say some nice words to everybody since the Pope just passed away.
Take care of your family. Take care of your pets. Love your neighbor. Don't read the internet. Amen. Social media sucks. Amen.
Was that a PS?
When a Yambag fall asleep, we were going to call Yambag on the show.
Yeah. Bryant's actually saying, let's just start calling random people for the show. Buddy, I'm for it.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, who were the guys that used to make prank phone calls?
Crank Yankers, the Jerky Boys.
Jerky Boys, yeah, right.
Do you have a Jerky Boys impression you can do?
I never heard the Jerky Boys impression.
What?
Nope. Never heard it.
All right. Well,
looks like we called Yambag's bluff there, didn't we?
Yeah. He don't want none.
He don't want none of this.
So let me let you hear a little Frank Rizzo.
Frank Rizzo?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, hello.
This is Frank?
Yeah, this is Frank. What's up?
Hey, how's it going? My name is Alejandro. I'm calling from the University of Phoenix.
What do you say, Alejandro? What's going on?
Yeah, so we received your inquiry about degree programs and wanted to see if you had a few minutes to discuss your education.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Alejandro. The only thing is, though, I'm not really good with groups.
So there you go. That's what Frank Rizzo sounds like from the
Jerky Boys. From the Jerky Boys, right?
Yeah. Hey, what do you think about this old film that we're seeing? Like whenever the lights get caught and they move, you can see like the tracers on the film. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, that is good.
I don't know why, but it makes me feel nostalgic about, that's the way it used to be when I was a kid.
All this has a great nostalgic feel to it, man.
It really does. I love the way the ring looks. I love the canvas color. I don't normally like it light like that, but I do here. I love the red, white, and blue.
Mm-hmm.
I love the big block logos on the turnbuckles. I love the way the whole crowd's lit. Like this era, this look. I mean, I wish they would do this today. And I know that everybody wants to be impressed with the digital signs and all that, but give me back this.
Yes, sir, man. I know we've talked about this probably ad nauseum about how much I love the 80s. And this was the end of the 80s as we know it, but this still feels very much mid 80s to me. I don't know, you know?
By the way, how crazy is it? Joey Morella looks like he's the youngest person involved in all this, and he was the first to pass away.
Isn't that something?
Thankfully, everybody's still with us except for he and Bobby Heenan. But both of the Brain Busters, praise the Lord, and the Rockers are still with us. That's a future Hall of Famer tagging in right there, Marty Jannetty.
When did Gorilla's son pass away? That was not too long after I left, I believe.
He passed away on July 4th, 1994.
Okay. Yeah, 5 years later. Car crash, right?
Mm-hmm. He died in a car accident at the age of 31 after he fell asleep at the wheel and crashed into a guardrail and a tree while driving home on the New Jersey Turnpike after a night refereeing the WWF matches in Ocean City, Maryland.
Jeez.
Bruno Lauer, better known as Harvey Whippleman, was with him at the time. He was critically injured. He repeatedly asked Morella if he was dead, but he never responded. Lauer was wearing a seatbelt while Morella was not. Following his death, WWF instituted rules that WWF personnel had to check into hotels when working late. Furthermore, they would no longer travel alone, and everyone traveling together had to agree to travel. Morella is buried next to his father, Gorilla Monsoon, at Lakeview Memorial Park in New Jersey. Images of a baseball player and a golfer were placed on his headstone due to his love of the two sports. And as a tribute, WWE ring announcer Tony Chimmel actually named his son after Morella. Morella's sister Valerie also has a son named after her brother.
Tony Chimmel works with AEW. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Yeah. Yeah, we see him. He works in the arena business. I know I shouldn't call it arena business, but the arena part of AEW. So I see him a lot.
Tony, we haven't talked about it, but have you heard the news that WWE acquired AAA in Mexico?
I did not hear that.
They did. They announced it on Saturday. WWE now owns the biggest wrestling organization in Mexico, AAA. They're going to be doing a show. Remember when Worlds Collide, when WCW did a show out in LA?
Yep.
Well, they're doing it again, this time at the Kia Forum, maybe a 13,000 seater, something like that. And it's going to be WWE and AAA coming together in Los Angeles. Los Angeles County has nearly 5 million Hispanic citizens.
Sure.
So it's a perfect place to do this. And they're doing it the same week that AEW is going to Arena Mexico for CMLL. The same week.
Wow. How about that? Isn't that odd?
It's just a big coinky dink.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, really.
Yeah.
Just like Saturday Night Live, Saturday night's main event being the exact same day as All In. It just, it's just happened. It
just happened. Just weird. It's just weird. Just those the coincidences that we have throughout the years in pro wrestling.
Didn't it?
Yeah. But with that in mind, I can't tell you how excited I am about being in Arena Mexico.
Oh, dude, have you ever been there before?
No, it's like a bucket list for any wrestling fan.
You're gonna love it, dude. I went in October of 2022, and I went there. I heard the rumor about this show that AEW was doing down there in June before it was announced, and I told some folks, "Hey, I'm going to that one." I had such a great time in Mexico City. I encourage. Listen, if you're listening to this and you've been to the tourist traps of Mexico, so you've been to Cancun or whatever. I mean, Don't get me wrong. I love Cabo. It's one of my favorite vacation spots. However, going to Arena Mexico in Mexico City, man, that is a cultural experience. I agree with you, Tony. I think every wrestling fan should hit that up.
Absolutely. I even before, this was before I was, I think we announced it. This was probably the middle of last year. I was talking to a couple of our wrestlers who had been booked there. And I was asking them about their experience. And one of the wrestlers and I'm not going to say his name, but he is a big time star. And he is one of my favorites and is not bottom of AEW's card. He's near the top. I asked him about it. He said it was the greatest experience of his wrestling career.
Wow.
Wrestling there. And I remember after that, and then seeing some footage thinking, I got to go, man. And here we are.
You're talking about Bryan Danielson?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, Bad Money Slim is with us here, and he says, for what it's worth, I need a good burying. Can you bury Bad Money Slim?
Yeah.
Just hit it, Tony.
Okay, yeah. Bad Money Slim has in the back of his head what chickens usually have. He has feathers in the back of his head. That's what he's got right there. And he has that grill in his teeth. You know what I'm saying? The grill in his teeth. And, but other than that, he's from Pennsylvania. And he's got that chicken feathers in the back of his head. And he's a grown man. He's got all that. A grown man. Next thing you know, he's going to have his hat on backwards like he's 17 years old. There you go. There you go, Bad Money.
I think if Bad Money was interviewed by GQ on YouTube, like here's the 10 things Bad Money Slam can't live without.
Yeah.
It might list this podcast, a pair of white Oakleys, and Axe body spray.
Probably so.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yambag Jones wants to know.
We're not talking to Yambag Jones.
Have you talked to Eddie Kingston lately? Man, I miss him.
Yeah, I have, Yambag, every now and then, and just let you guys know he's every bit as miserable as always.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah. And he's let his beard grow out. Way out. Wow. Way out. Like type thing. But I miss Eddie Kingston too. And I've told Eddie many times, I said, you're one of my favorite, if not my favorite wrestler of all time. He said, bullshit, Schiavone. I said, no. I mean, just the way you approach your business, your promos are real. You give us great matches. What's not to love about you?
Well, anyway, I was just saying, oh man, what a nice finish there.
Wasn't that great?
Oh, I just absolutely love to see Tully pull down the top rope. Sean didn't see it. He goes ass over tea kettle to the floor. They're double teaming Marty.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot how great this was. I love the Rockers and the Brainbusters. I remember their 2 out of 3 falls from Saturday night's main event. Probably Arn. I think Arn has said that was his favorite match in the WWF. But this is great shit, dude.
Yeah.
Their styles really, really work together. And I'm sure some of that is because there were certainly similarities as the quote unquote tag team specialists between the Rock and Roll Express and the Rockers, right?
Yeah, that. And I think there's another thing too. And this is, I don't want anybody to think this is disparaging the Rockers or Shawn Michaels, who we all know is probably the greatest worker of all time. But back in that era, I bet you Arn and Tully called the entire match. And this was back before you worked over everything, right?
No doubt. Called in the ring, baby.
Yeah, called in the ring, and those guys knew what they were doing. They knew how to make stars. They did throughout their NWA career. So there you go. Listen, as you know, Dusty Rhodes was a great star, but Dusty Rhodes would have never been a star without a Ric Flair or Tully Blanchard or those guys being great heels and being able to do the things they've done. Just remember that.
Yeah, just remember it, you sons of bitches.
That's right, man. This is an art form. And there's a camera shot through a drink that you don't normally see.
We're going to be doing something kind of fun next week here on the show, Tony. We're going to be watching some of the best of cage matches from Madison Square Garden. How fun is that going to be?
Wow. Hogan and Boss Man going to be in there?
You want that one in there?
Well, that's when they asked me my most memorable match I've ever called. That, to me, is one of the tops, right?
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
All the different iterations of the cages. Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I like the blue cage.
Really? I mean, I kind of do too. That is old school. And
yeah,
Silva, our crack producer, I don't mean like he's, on crack. He's too heavy set for that. He says, yes, that one will be there. So you're going to see Hogan and Boss Man in the cage, the big blue cage. And we're going to be doing it next week. I love watching old school wrestling. I love watching wrestling with our friends. We want you to join us next week here, each and every Monday, immediately following Monday Night Raw. It's 9:00 Central, 10:00 Eastern. It's easy to be a part of our fun little club. Go right now to patreon.com/WHW Monday and join us live each and every Monday. Be a part of the fam. Tony does have one request. Please don't bring up pubic hair. We're trying to move past that. But with that in mind, Tony, right now it looks like it's about that time.
And coming to the ring is Yambag Jones with a telephone, and I think he's trying to call this number. Hang on a second. Tony Schiavone's line. Yes. And you are Yambag Jones. Don't know who you fucking are. Thank you very much. We're just out of time. We'll see you next week on What Happened When. We come to you each and every Wednesday, but don't forget we come to you each and every Monday, exclusively and ad-free only on
Patreon. Patreon.com/WHW Monday. And of course, adfreeshows.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.